Steven's here at the Blockchain Innovation Conference 2019 in Amsterdam. We're getting towards the end of the day, but we're still interviewing speakers if they've come off stage. I'm here with Rutger van Zuidam.
Hi, Nick.
Hi, Rutger. Groningen represents here in Amsterdam.
Absolutely.
Founder of what is now the Odyssey Hackathon and so much more. Happened just a couple of months ago. Feels like a lifetime already.
Yep.
Rutger, one of the big themes that we've been hearing about today through a lot of the speakers was alliances, coalitions, cooperations, partnerships, etc., etc. I know I don't need to introduce that concept to you. You've been running ahead for that concept for 3 years already. But what is the world of blockchain and AI and this sort of technology looking like for you lately?
So a good question. I think we've been moving towards digital public infrastructure as a main theme. Why is this important? We are especially interested in complex problems. These kind of challenges, they have a multitude of stakeholders involved. They cannot be solved by one organization, not even by an industry or a country. You need mass collaboration for them to solve. I mean, also these kind of challenges, they don't stop at borders, right? And that's especially interesting. And then, on the other hand, you look at these things and say, okay, top-down transformation does not work here. You need grassroots, fundamental transformation. So here we come in the realm of ecosystems, interconnected, collaborative networks that use digital public infrastructure to collaborate. So this goes beyond the industries. This goes beyond whatever you can organize in just a consortium, because you need to manage that top-down. But this is really grassroots ecosystems that can grow as it becomes more relevant to join, right? And this is what we are creating, right? So you have these challenge owners, and we bridge the gap with the people who really want to provide solutions, but not proprietary or closed or patented or whatever, but open source, owned by no one, can be used by everyone. Everyone can build on top of it. Oh wait, that looks like the internet. That looks like Bitcoin. That looks like Ethereum and email. So these are the protocol levels, and with each new protocol, a completely new market opens where all kinds of integrations, solution providers can address the market, because that's where the business value is generated by applying the protocol into the business processes, societal processes, etc. And
let me cut in for a second.
Sure.
For me, it's amazing how fast this has gone, right? We've just done Odyssey 3.
Yeah.
Number 3, right? And I don't want to say we'd never thought of this 3 years ago, because that's probably not true, but I think we were on the edge of it. And now it's happening. It's not even we've discovered it. It's happening.
Yeah, exactly.
Scale.
So, I mean, at the first hackathon, we thought of the tagline, co-creating the next operating system for our society. Yeah. Right? So this highly resonates with what we are doing still. But we now know what is the added value of blockchain and AI in that. Yeah. So for blockchain, we are moving from institutional trust to public trust, of which institutions can be part of. Yeah. But what it really gives us is the ability to create ownerless organizations that govern ownerless infrastructure, and this will give us a completely neutral ground to collaborate. On the other hand, if you add AI to that, if you add the intelligence factor to that, we're moving from institutional intelligence towards public intelligence, which is unlimited. Yeah. And so this gives us the ability, combined with blockchain, to be intelligent on the same level playing field without the need of having the data or even knowing the data.
Yeah. So, I mean, essentially, if I dumb this down a little bit, from my perspective, by having all the data available for all of the parties within the public infrastructure, the playing field is set, and now it comes down to who can build, for example, the best AI or the best algorithm to then do something with it, but everybody has the same start point. And instead of, I happen to sit on a massive amount of data that you can't have, and therefore I can basically monopolize the heck out of you in order to own the outcome and profit from the outcome, but not even guarantee that I'll solve the problem.
And not knowing if you will create a tremendous danger for society.
Right.
Because
or not caring.
With AI, how do you know that you are A, using the right model, and B, using the right data?
And not programming bias into it in the middle.
Well, you will do that.
You can't not
because
do that.
Because every type of technology is a manifestation of our culture,
right,
and of our biases. So what I think is extremely important is to take this to the public and to the open, so that every human in the world can have access to this intelligence, and not through some kind of black box, but through a transparent thing that can be peer-reviewed, that can be broken basically by anyone, and thus become anti-fragile, because if you break it, it becomes stronger.
Do you remember a TV program a decade or so ago, Robot Wars? Right? A whole bunch of young folks building, serious robots, but then put them on a basketball court to, beat the crap out of each other. Best robot wins.
Yeah.
I'm imagining that with algorithms and machine learning and but not within a company, but across who can build the best algorithm to solve a problem, and that we continue robot by robot, AI by AI from all sorts of different, whether it's a company, whether it's a private, whether it's a public, whether it is the government, whether it is a coalition, to just keep on getting better and better and better to solve the problem. And obviously you need some constraints and some governance on what solving the problem is, but if you don't have that, you're not solving the problem anyway. Creating, like you said, anti-fragile, so a never-ending upward spiral of getting better and better and better.
This is what's happening to Bitcoin. It's what's happening to Ethereum. So I think that's the interesting part. Last week I was at the AI for Good conference in Geneva, and Pindar Wang on stage. He initiated the Scaling Bitcoin conference, for example, introduced internet to Hong Kong. He said, articulated very well, if it takes a village to raise a child, then it takes a planet to raise an AI. And I think he's right. And I think that's both right on the risk part, but it's also right on the opportunities part. Because if it's out in the public, what it can help us with is limitless.
Yeah.
Right? Anyone, anywhere can use his or her creativity to find out something nobody would ever have thought of. And this is something we cannot leave
or maybe
untouched.
Could not have thought of.
Exactly.
Because the combination of brains and cultures and diversity.
Exactly.
Our viewers might be watching this, they've never seen you before, they think, wow, what an optimist this guy is, we can solve everything. Yeah. You and I both know that that's a long way off, but we're heading in the right direction. What's an unpopular opinion in the world of blockchain, distributed ledger, etc., AI, that you're hearing lately that you think, that might actually be true?
Yeah, that's interesting. Well, there is debate about, in the crypto space, there's debate about culture, especially in the Bitcoin crypto space. Some say there is a bit of toxic culture. And
there's money involved. I mean, that's hardly a surprise.
Well, I think if you look at the Bitcoin maximalists, right, it's really about eating raw steaks and having guns and your own sovereignty and all these kind of things. But I think if you take one step back and look beyond this, then you can ask the question. How is the adoption of these kind of protocols, of these kind of infrastructures, tied together to the culture they foster, right? And if you look at the culture of ecosystems, then you see a massive difference in the way they are adopted or not. So I think this is. Some say no, it's just the technology and the culture doesn't matter, and if you don't like the culture, then you should just move on. But I think my unpopular opinion in that space would be if you look to adoption and your ability to connect to other ecosystems, make integration, build with each other instead of competing, then super cool things can happen. So if you look, for example, at the combination between, for example, Bitcoin and what's happening in Lightning, and what you could do with Ocean Protocol, I mean, you can establish your own market for data exchanges. Yep. I mean, this could be amazing, the combinations, right? So I think what especially a lot of people in the Bitcoin space have to learn, and I'm kind of a maximalist, right? I'm not into the whole private blockchain part, optimizing the status quo and stuff like that. I mean, it's a good reason for people to do it. I just don't see any, I'm not interested in it. But from a public point of view, I would like to see Bitcoin succeed as a global digital public infrastructure for exchanging value across the globe for anyone.
And that needs the currency side to continue and to grow and survive the hype and survive the winter and keep going.
And it needs connectivity. So I think if you look at when we go from institutional trust and intelligence towards this public, then increasingly community building as a skill for ecosystems becomes more important. And we have learned this through all the projects we did. I mean, over the past 3 years, we have delivered to our partners over 230 working prototypes, and over 30-40% of that is actually being further developed. Consortia are growing bottom up. One is faster than the other, but it's happening, and we can learn a lot from that. We can also learn a lot from what is happening in governing and advancing Bitcoin. But I would say let's always combine these views and see how we can move forward together.
So if I gave you 15 seconds to talk about what you hope to see coming next. So not the obvious stuff. You just talked about what for me is a logical next step. Now take a leapfrog. 15 seconds. What are you hoping for?
That every organization realizes that they can have their ecosystem for innovation. So basically, they can extend thousands of people across the globe to their innovation ecosystem. This insight gives you superpowers, not only as an organization, but also as an individual working there. Every human will get their own innovation ecosystem. And you can, if you want to change something for the better in this world, then you can have the support of thousands across the globe.
Maybe even millions.
Maybe even millions, if these people want to make it happen.
Sounds like distributed innovation.
Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's a pretty clear answer from Rutger. So if you're interested in the future of distributed innovation, or indeed building these allegiances to use tech for making the world a better place, digital public infrastructure, where can these folks find you?
At odyssey.org, you can find the schedule for the season. It starts in September. The hackathon is in April, and we end always the end of June with a great barbecue at the Brightlands Innovations Center with an unconference. It's also about working together with the governmental institutions, with the regulators, with the corporates, NGOs, and the likes. So these stakeholders are all on board, next to you at your table while you are creating your solution, and more important, while you are solving a problem. And so that's more important.
That's the most important thing. So I hear a clear plea. It doesn't matter whether you're a nerd on the tech side or anyone from those institutes that you just asked.
Or a philosopher or an artist, or even if you're if you're a social worker, if you work with kids, or you're a doctor, we have everyone joining our hackathon. Last edition we had a lot of firefighters there. I mean, it's super cool to be able to work with them, and you see that if you hit the right problem you want to solve, you connect on the tech as well, but also on cultural level. Yep. That's really exciting. Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm here at the Blockchain Innovation Conference 2019 in Amsterdam. Enjoyable conversation with Rutger van Zuidam from Odyssey, and I'll see you back in Groningen.
See you, Nick.
Great, thanks.
See you, Nick.